Welcome to The Debate. Today we're digging into something called choice architecture. Our source material explores this idea of the nudge, small tweaks to how choices are presented that lead to big changes in behavior. And the success of this, well, it really hinges on the fact that humans aren't always rational. We procrastinate, we take shortcuts. So the central question for us today is this. Does succeeding by using these cognitive shortcuts fundamentally undermine the goal of creating genuinely rational, autonomous decision makers? I'll be arguing that it's a necessary approach that actually enhances freedom.
And I'm going to challenge that very premise. I think relying on the manipulation of these known cognitive biases leads less to real autonomy and more to a kind of dependence on outside systems.
So my position is that designing for human fallibility is really the only practical way to move forward. Look, every environment where we make a decision is designed in some way, either intentionally or just poorly. So smart architecture, it works with our nature, not against it. Putting healthy food at eye level, for instance, just bypasses that cognitive barrier without needing a bunch of rules or lectures. And crucially, the choice is still there. We're just helping people bridge the gap between their own stated goals and their immediate, present bias-driven actions.
Okay, but I come at this from a different angle entirely. While I'll grant you that the effectiveness is, undeniable, it's the mechanism that I find concerning. The material shows us that the system's success is really rooted in bypassing conscious logic. It relies on these powerful biases like loss aversion, where, the fear of missing out just completely overrides any rational calculation. When success is defined by how well you exploit these flaws, like automatic retirement enrollment, it works best when people are passive. And that suggests to me that we're optimizing for compliance, not autonomy.
I wouldn't call the reliance on defaults and exploitation. I'd say it's a necessary correction for pure human inertia. Defaults are critical for encouraging these huge positive outcomes. We're talking higher savings rates, massive increases in organ donation, and all without any force. They address the well-documented problem of transaction costs. These interventions, they act like an autopilot on a plane. It keeps the plane on a course the pilot already chose, but might struggle to maintain minute to minute. Without that default, people just delay good decisions forever.
See, I'm just not convinced by that line of reasoning. The central function of the default isn't just to correct friction. It's built on the observation that people almost always take the path of least resistance. The data shows that very, very few people ever bother to change it. So if the intervention's success is based on people being totally passive, just following the trail someone else laid, how can we truly argue that we are fostering genuinely rational choice? It seems to me we're creating smarter systems that leverage our laziness rather than creating better individual decision makers who are actively engaged. We're swapping cognitive effort for systemic dependence.
That's an interesting critique, but I would frame it differently. I think we have to stop valorizing effort for its own sake. Willpower is a finite resource. It gets depleted. Nudging is just applying a kind of engineering to preserve that resource. For the truly essential high-stakes decisions, we're acknowledging the fundamental failure of that old-school rational agent model. We're building systems that accommodate human fallibility, and by doing that, we enhance people's actual ability to align their actions with their own long-term goals.
I'm sorry, I just don't buy that. If your method requires appealing to our baser instincts, the outcome is it's problematic for autonomy. Let's just take the mechanism of social proof. When a utility company shows you how your energy use stacks up against your neighbors, the change isn't driven by educating you about efficiency. It's relying on the cognitive discomfort of social deviation, on the fear of shame, to get you to comply. When success depends on exploiting this desire for conformity, bypassing reasoning entirely, we are skirting the deeper issue of true conscious choice. We risk normalizing a society where good outcomes always need an external behavioral engineer pulling the strings.
The evidence for behavioral change is undeniable. The debate is really over whether we accept the reality of how humans behave or if we cling to some fictional ideal of a perfectly rational person. My position remains that effective, transparent choice architecture offers a path to demonstrably better outcomes, all while preserving that final, crucial element of free choice.
And while the effectiveness is clear, that underlying philosophical tension, it doesn't just go away. We have to keep asking whether system optimization truly equates to individual autonomy, or if we are just creating a society that's dependent on carefully designed external guardrails.
We encourage our listeners to explore the deeper ideas behind choice architecture and cognitive biases for themselves, and to decide where they see the line between ethical influence and subtle manipulation.